Welcome to the Parent and Student Briefing about Civil Air Patrol. In today's video, we're going to learn about Civil Air Patrol, its functions, and the cadet program that your student is interested in. Here at Cloverdale Middle School, our Civil Air Patrol Squadron is named after Dr. Milton Pitts Crenchaw. Here's some more information about him. Dr. Milton Pitts Crenchaw was known as the father of black aviation in Arkansas. Born on January 13, 1919 in Little Rock, he was the first Arkansan to be successfully trained by the federal government as a civilian licensed pilot. Crenchaw graduated from Dunbar High School in Little Rock and later attended Dunbar Junior College before enrolling at the historic Tuskegee Institute in Alabama in 1939. In December of 1940, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt proposed the training and inclusion of black pilots in the Army because he saw a shortage of personnel in the aviation, pilot, and engineering sectors of government. After the bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Milton Crenshaw's focus shifted from living the life of a normal college student to flying in Roosevelt's civilian pilot training program sponsored by the Army Air Corps, and becoming a flight instructor. Crenchaw received partial training and physical examinations at Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama, before returning to Tuskegee for advanced courses in aviation piloting. He graduated with his civilian pilot's license and then commercial pilot certificate on August 11, 1941, just a few short months before Pearl Harbor. Crenchaw became a primary civilian flight instructor and eventually one of the two original supervising squadron commanders for the Tuskegee program. He and Charles Fox were the first instructors for the first group of student pilot trainees between 1941 and 1946. The pilots Crenchaw trained later became known as the Tuskegee Airmen, one of the most famous group of aviators during the Second World War. Dr. Crenshaw's combined service record extends over 40 years of federal service from 1941 to 1983 with the U.S. Army, the U.S. Army Air Corps, and eventually the U.S. Air Force. He went on to become the first black flight instructor at Fort Novosel, previously known as Fort Rucker, in the home of Army Aviation, and at Fort Sill. After over 10,000 hours in the air, he went on to serve as an Equal Employment Opportunity Officer with the Department of Defense, and as a Race Relations Officer at Fort Stewart in Georgia until he retired after 40 years of federal service in 1983. However, Dr. Crenchaw continued his community service by working with U.S. Senator Mark Pryor and U.S. Congressman Vic Snyder regarding educational programs and veterans benefits. Dr. Crenchaw has received numerous awards and certificates for his role as a Tuskegee Airman. Crenchaw was inducted into the Arkansas Aviation Hall of Fame in 1998. In March of 2007, he was honored by Arkansas Governor Mike Beebe for his historic efforts as a Tuskegee Airman flight instructor and service to his country. On March 29th of 2009, Crenchaw and the Tuskegee Airmen were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal by President George W. Bush in Washington, D.C. Arkansas native Milton Crenchaw is recognized nationally for his role as an instructional aviator and pilot trainer for the Tuskegee Airmen. But however, throughout his life, he always had an eye out on the nation's youth. In addition to everything else, he also founded an aviation program at Philander Smith College and later helped form the Milton Pitts Crenchaw Aviation Training Academy. Dr. Crenchaw said, quote, "Proper education and exposure to the world of aviation will ensure for our youth the attainment of careers in the field of aerosciences and aeronautics. We must feed that hunger for experience and need well above the norm." Tuskegee Airman Milton P. Crenchaw. It is in his honor and his vision that this squadron, the Crenchaw Memorial Squadron, was formed and operates.
I'm a cadet.
I'm a cadet.
Show leadership skills. Communication skills.
Communication skills.
Integrity.
Integrity.
What is Civil Air Patrol? Generally, we consider Civil Air Patrol one of America's best kept secrets. But here's Montel Williams from the Military Channel to explain more about Civil Air Patrol.
Civil Air Patrol is a civilian auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force that you might not know about. You don't need to be a pilot or have military experience to join. It's a volunteer auxiliary. You do need to be interested in community service, mentoring, and bringing out the best in others.
Civil Air Patrol, or CAP, was founded in 1941, just 1 week before the attack on Pearl Harbor that launched the United States into World War II. It was originally formed to train pilots and patrol the coastline looking for enemy submarines. Today, CAP has many new missions, including search and rescue, emergency services, humanitarian relief, youth development, and aerospace education for K through 12. And behind these important initiatives and life-saving missions, military veterans and dedicated community members who volunteer their time, expertise, and passion for giving back. Meet Brigadier General Edward Felkup. He helps lead the task force of more than 50,000 CAP volunteers.
CAP is a congressionally chartered nonprofit corporation that operates in all 50 states, plus Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. Civil Air Patrol members are proud to wear the uniform of the United States Air Force as the official auxiliary of the Air Force. It's a way for our members to be connected with service to our country. I joined Civil Air Patrol when I was 14. I was really interested in serving in the military, and it turned out that Civil Air Patrol service ended up being the way I served my country. But we have a lot of former members of the military who continue their service to the nation in Civil Air Patrol. CAP has over 25,000 cadets across the country, ranging in age from 12 to 20 years old, and they're exploring careers in both military-related as well as civilian-related career fields.
Meet Cadet Major Valeria Pacheco Lugo, a CAP cadet from the Puerto Rico wing.
We get to learn about different STEM career opportunities, and we also get to participate of emergency services activities. So it's really awesome. It's really unique in a way, especially because of the people in the Civil Air Patrol. Senior members and cadets is a very good environment and a very diverse environment. The Civil Air Patrol has helped me grow my character and leadership skills, especially because I was a very shy person when I entered the Civil Air Patrol, and being in a different environment enabled me to grow as a leader and as a young person. My parents joined the Civil Air Patrol because I actually convinced them to. They saw me wearing the uniform, and I think they were very proud to see me serving my community voluntarily.
Meet Colonel Andrea Van Buren, CAP's first female region commander in the Southeast. She's responsible for commanding 6 of CAP's 52 wings, including Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands.
The Civil Air Patrol is an incredibly diverse program, especially for females and minorities. And the Cadet Wings program in particular, which takes young people and helps them achieve their private pilot's licenses, that averages even more within the program than it is in general aviation. The Cadet Wings program has about 27% of our cadet students are female, whereas general aviation female pilots only account for about 7% worldwide. I originally joined Civil Air Patrol as an adult about 21 years ago. And what drew me to the program was actually the flying. As a pilot, I was interested in the very unique flying missions that we do.
Civil Air Patrol, our Air Force auxiliary, is looking for more volunteer pilots, educators, and leaders to serve America's communities on the ground and in the air, save lives, and shape tomorrow's leader, today's youth.
Our members come from all walks of life. We have doctors, nurses, administrative professionals, finance experts. Chances are we have a job for you in the Civil Air Patrol.
So, what do you want to do with your life? Want to be a doctor, lawyer, astronaut? What about a firefighter, police officer, judge, lawyer, nurse, doctor? There's just a whole bunch. There's thousands of careers out there. But in every single one of those careers, you have leaders. You have the folks that make things happen. And CAP can be an excellent source of learning how to lead no matter what career field you go into. If you look at the bottom, you can see a young CAP cadet. His name is Eric Bowe, and he was examining the model of a space shuttle. Just as the people of Civil Air Patrol are diverse, so are the career fields that they choose to go into. Not all CAP cadets decide to join the military. They become state legislators, congresspeople. They become Rhodes Scholars. They become police officers, firefighters, business people. Just all sorts of different careers. They can go into becoming groundbreaking people like Lieutenant Colonel Kimbrell, who was the first African American female fighter pilot, or Senior Airman Cooper, who was one of the first African American female sensor operators on the RQ-4 Global Hawk. They are all former CAP cadets. And if you remember in the last slide, I pointed out Eric Bowe looking at a space shuttle. Well, he ended up becoming an actual astronaut and flying the space shuttles to space 3 different times. So CAP is a great place to learn leadership, to learn about different careers, and to prepare to take off to the stars. Civil Air Patrol has 4 core values: integrity, volunteer service, excellence, and respect. The cadets are expected to adhere to those core values at all times, such as like integrity, doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. And to help cadets with that, one of the things they have to do for their promotions is participate in what we call a character development class. Read kind of like an ethics class, if you will, where they discuss core values, discuss scenarios, discuss possible things that could take place in those scenarios, and how those would apply to the core values. So one of the things is that the cadets are expected to live up to the core values at all times. Using the core values as kind of a baseline, then the cadet program elements include leadership, aerospace education, physical fitness, and character. We're going to delve a little bit deeper into each one of these as we go along. On this page, we can see different examples of leadership. We like to refer to the cadet program as a leadership laboratory. It's a place where the cadets can learn about leadership and they can practice leadership, all the while doing so in a safe environment. It's okay to make mistakes. We understand. They're students. They're learning. They're going to make mistakes. But they get to practice leadership, beginning at the bottom with learning how to lead yourself. I always say that if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others. And that is why I place that picture at the very core of this page. That is a student at the Hawk Mountain Ranger School, and it is a very intense search and rescue school. And that student right there is learning to lead themselves, how to get through a tough program, be able to follow instructions, and do it well. Cadets also participate in disaster relief effort. On the upper left side, we see cadets handing out supplies to community members after Hurricane Ida hit. They're leading the community in the relief efforts. We also can see in the bottom right a group of cadets waiting for someone to help instruct them as to what they're going to do. And we see another cadet come along and have a clear sense of purpose, some directions, and he's going to lead the cadets into what their next assignment's going to be. Sometimes leadership is more personal. For example, in the upper right corner, we can see a cadet practicing leadership of inspecting younger cadets, making sure that they're wearing their uniforms correctly, how to correct them if they're not wearing them correctly. And also it takes personal leadership to be able to do so with integrity, ethics. And that comes back to our character development, which we'll talk in a minute. And finally, we look at this as a leadership laboratory. It's an opportunity for the cadets to lead large groups of people, not just small groups of people, but as they rise in rank, lead large groups of people into a single mission function or to accomplish something. Here, we see encampment cadets passing in review, which is where the cadets march in a certain direction, and they all work together to present a unified appearance. So there's several levels of leadership working at that, not just the high-end commander of everybody, but also the individual squad sergeants that worked with their cadets to get those salutes correctly and march correctly, and then the flight commanders working with each other to make sure their flights all line up correctly. And so these are all done by cadets, and they're, once again, it's a leadership laboratory. They're applying the lessons that they learn in leadership and applying them in real life. Typically, when somebody thinks about aerospace and aerospace education, they think of NASA. However, 11 years before NASA was even created, the United States Congress charged Civil Air Patrol with aerospace education for citizens of the United States. And we're still doing that today. Our cadets are immersed in learning about aerospace, from going through a model rocketry program up to and including launching multi-stage rockets, to STEM kits, to being able to go to the Cessna factory where they make airplanes and work and learn about those types of careers, to being able to fly gliders and in military aircraft. There is such a wide range of aerospace activities that the students get to participate in. As part of this, each cadet is guaranteed 5 orientation rides in a powered aircraft. If available, they can fly up to 5 glider flights, and also, if really available, 5 hot air balloon orientation flights. So if you like to fly, CAP is the place where you get to fly and do a lot of other cool aerospace education activities. Our third key element in the cadet program is physical fitness. All cadets have to take physical fitness tests as they begin to advance in rank. The purpose of these physical fitness tests is to help teach the cadet how to lead a healthy lifestyle. But there's a lot of other physical fitness type of activities that we do. In addition to regular PT or physical training, we like to play sports like kickball. Volleyball is kind of considered the sport of CAP. We also have opportunities to go rock climbing, doing obstacle courses, as well as the wonderful opportunity of learning how to rappel or go down the side of a cliff or something like that on a rope. I remember I did that in CAP for the first time when I was about 13, and I loved it. Been loving it ever since. So physical fitness is a key element of cadet life. Okay, we already talked a little bit about character or ethics, and we talked about how character development classes played a large part of that. However, character is also manifested in our actions. It can be as something simple as having the character to complete a difficult task, like complete an encampment, like the young lady in the middle did. It could be having the integrity to be fair and honest when conducting inspections of cadets. Even might be a cadet that you don't get along with, but if you're a higher ranking cadet, when you're inspecting that cadet, you have to be fair and honest and display good character. It can be also honoring those that have fought and died for our country. Freedom is not free, ladies and gentlemen, and we must always remember that fact. For the moment that we do, we are no longer free. Character also can manifest itself by being very inclusive and open-minded to other cultures and other peoples and getting along with them. And character also comes into play when working on a task. For example, in the upper right, you see cadets working on what's called Project X. They're given a task to do something, but they're not told how to do it, and they have to work to figure it out on their own. That means they have to work as a team, listen to each other's ideas, talk fairly about everything, and then come to a consensus on how to complete a task. All that requires good character. So the character is a very important part of the cadet program. Here is the United States Air Force rank enlisted an officer. You will see that the CAP cadet rank follows the same structure. As you can see, the CAP cadet ranks mirror the U.S. Air Force ranks, beginning in Phase 1, in Phase 2, and then after successful completion of the Mitchell Award, Phase 3, and Phase 4. Now, what do all these different phases mean, and how do they work? To help cadets keep track of all the requirements necessary for promotion, we have this super chart which tracks all requirements for promotions from airman through colonel. We will now explain how cadets advance in rank and what the various phases mean.
Each phase has a few achievements that are capped off with a milestone award, indicating that the cadet has mastered the objectives of that phase. Phase 1 is the learning phase. It contains 3 achievements that the cadets complete in sequence: the Curry, the Arnold, and the Fike, and concludes with a milestone award, the Wright Brothers Award. New cadets are expected to come in, serve as airmen, follow their leaders, and learn. The Wright Brothers marks the transition into Phase 2. Phase 2 is the leadership phase. There are 5 achievements in Phase 2: the Rickenbacker, an unnamed achievement, Doolittle, Goddard, and Armstrong. Phase 2, cadets serve as non-commissioned officers or sergeants, and they learn to lead the airmen below them while also learning to lead from the officers above them in the chain of command. The milestone award for this phase is the Mitchell Award. Phase 3 is the command phase. There are 3 achievements in this phase: Brown and 2 unnamed achievements, reserved for future pioneers in aerospace. In Phase 3, cadets serve as officers and learn to lead indirectly. The Amelia Earhart Award marks the transition to Phase 4. Phase 4 is the executive phase. It contains 5 achievements. Here, cadet officers learn how to lead multiple teams indirectly and set long-term goals for their unit. The Acre Award marks the completion of Phase 4. The pinnacle of the cadet program is the Spots Award. It is the cadet program's highest honor. With each achievement, there are multiple tasks a cadet needs to complete.
Now that we have seen what is Civil Air Patrol, let's see what Civil Air Patrol does.
Mission base, this is Ground Team 4. Over. Mission base, this is Ground Team 4. Do you copy? Over.
Typically, School Squadron will be meeting after school, and during the summertime, we will decide on what time to meet but we will continue to meet during the summertime, either be in the afternoon or evening, depending upon schedules. We will also have weekend activities at least once a month. Now it may just be a weekend day, or it could be the entire weekend, Friday through Sunday. Just kind of depends what it is that we're looking at we're doing. We also have week-long activities. For example, the summer encampment typically lasts a week, couple days, right around there, between 7 to 9 days. We also have National Special Cadet activities that your student may be interested in going on after their first year, and those can last up to 2 weeks. There's a lot of activities that take place. Typically, week-long activities will take place during the summertime or other time during school break, so as not to interfere with school. And just to give you an idea what summer encampment looks like, here's a video of All right, if you remember, I mentioned before about our National Special Cadet activities. There are 52 of them. This is just 5 of the 52 National Special activities that cadets have access to after they complete their first encampment. Blue Beret is 2 weeks at Oshkosh, Wisconsin at the world's largest air show, where they will be marshaling aircraft, working with experimental aircraft, and all sorts of fun things. Flight Academy, like you see this gentleman here, is where you actually learn to fly. You go through ground school and solo an aircraft by the end of it. Hawk Mountain Ranger School is a very intense search and rescue school. You saw a picture from that in our leadership board. Honor Guard Academy, if you like color guard, drilling, things like that, Honor Guard Academy is the place to go. We also have International Air Cadet Exchange, where you could actually go to a foreign country and exchange with the air cadets from there. They come here and you get to go there. I went to International Air Cadet Exchange when I was younger. I went to Israel, spent 3 wonderful weeks in Israel. We also have, of course, the Region Wing activities. We've seen the summer encampment. We also have Southwest Region Leadership School. We have search and rescue exercises. You saw a video of that sooner, as well as cadet competition. So this just scratches the surface. Ladies and gentlemen, during the summertime when school's out is when CAP gets busy. That's when we have the vast majority of these activities, and there's always something that a cadet is interested in doing. So here are some of the activities that we're going to be doing here at the Squadron. It can either be during our regular training evenings after school or when we meet in the evening time, or it can also be some these things that we do on the weekends. But all these are things that we will be doing as a squadron as part of the program. There are also some other advantages to being a CAP cadet. An example is academic scholarships. If you're interested in going on after high school to college or some sort of technical college, there are lots and lots of different scholarships that are only available to Civil Air Patrol cadets. Alright, so as you can see, Dr. Ron Hansen Scholarship and Captain Nick Schroeder Scholarships both offer scholarships to undergraduate and graduate college university students. In addition, Captain Nick Schroeder Scholarship offers 2 scholarships for cadets to attend a National Cadet Special Activity. So if cadets are unable to afford one, they can apply for one of these scholarships to go to a National Cadet Special Activity. Also, USAA, which is kind of considered the military's insurance company, offers 3 undergraduate scholarships to Civil Air Patrol cadets. Norwich University offers undergraduate scholarships to CAP cadets as well. Norwich is a very famous military university, kind of like West Point. And then we have the Spartans College of Aeronautics and Technology. You can see there on the screen where any CAP cadet gets a non-competitive $1,000 scholarship for attending that school. One cadet from each region can get $5,000, and there's a CAP cadet that will get full tuition scholarships. And these aren't the only ones. They get updated yearly, and so I always encourage cadets to check back, especially as they get closer to graduating from high school, and see what scholarships are available at the time. Now there's even more scholarships available, and we're talking flight scholarships. Guys, if you didn't know it, we have a severe pilot shortage in the United States, actually all over the world, but especially here in the United States. And so with an eye towards that, a lot of organizations are trying to fund pilot training programs. Here at Civil Air Patrol, we fly, that's what we do. There are 5 different flight program scholarships that are available to cadets as they go along. And we also have the Wings program. Now the Wings program is one of the most competitive flight training scholarships because it takes you from 0, meaning that the only thing that you know about an airplane is the parts of the airplane and the propeller and the front spins, to getting your private pilot's license. And that is something that is just brand new, started a couple years ago, and really having a lot of cadets enjoy it and go through and have a good time with it and get their private pilot license. But besides that, like I said, there are 5 different flight program scholarships, everything through getting ground school through your solo flight. We have 4 solo flight academies a year in different parts of the United States. And we also have some scholarships from other organizations that will help you get your private pilot rating. So if you're interested in flying, we have the ability to help you out with all of our flight scholarship programs. Okay, we've talked a lot about wonderful opportunities Civil Air Patrol has to offer. We turned 80 years old because we were formed in 1941, 6 days before Pearl Harbor. And so here's a short video clip showing a lot more of stuff that Civil Air Patrol does. Watch and enjoy. So far I've been talking about all the cool things of Civil Air Patrol, the benefits that you can get. However, anything that's worth something isn't free. And in this case, this isn't free either. And I'm not talking money. I'm talking about you, your character, what you have to do to remain in the organization and succeed. It takes work. It takes a lot of work. The benefits are worth it, but you have to decide if you're willing to put the work in to get them. So we're going to talk about some rules that you're going to have to follow as a cadet. And I'm not just talking rules that when you're at the meetings or doing activities. We're talking about rules that you have to follow for your life and participate in Civil Air Patrol. Because being a cadet is not just a few days a week or whatever. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week responsibility. So I'm sure that you've been looking up here and seeing some of the rules as a cadet. I'm not going to list them out for you. Just know that you can be terminated from the program if you don't have the integrity and self-discipline to follow the rules, even if nobody's looking. That's called integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, we wear the uniform of the United States Air Force. We are a part of the Air Force total force, right along with active duty, reserves, National Guard. Civil Air Patrol is a part of that. So it's a huge responsibility for you to wear your uniform correctly. Why? because you are representing everyone else in the Air Force. You're representing the pilot flying overhead. You're representing the Air Force members deployed overseas away from their families, protecting this country. You represent the people at the Little Rock Air Force Base. You represent the people at Travis Air Force Base in California and Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. So, it's very important that we wear the uniform proudly and we follow the Air Force rules for wearing it. One of the big things that you have to understand is you have to meet grooming and hygiene standards along with your uniform standards. We will go over that once you join so that you'll know what you need to do, but understand that you're going to need to meet those. And if you have any questions, be sure that you ask the CAP representative that you're in contact with before you join, because we will expect you to follow those regulations. Remember, you're representing everyone else in the Air Force, and just as they represent you, they wear their uniforms correctly, and so shall you. There is no other program in the United States where the cadets get to do everything that CAP cadets do. Not even JROTC. CAP cadets fly, lead, save lives. You get to travel the world. You'll stay physically fit. You can learn to survive in the wild. You can train with members of the military. You also get to serve your nation at a time of crisis, whether it's through disaster relief, search and rescue, or a number of other things. And most importantly, you get to do things that other teams only dream about being able to do. There is no other program in the United States where cadets get to do as much as CAP cadets get to do. You probably watched a superhero movie, Marvel, DC, comics, and like that, but guess what? If you want to do it in real life, come see us, because we do more than Batman does. Alright, we have come to the parent portion of our presentation. And when I say parent, of course I'm referring to parents, guardians, whoever is responsible for the child. It is your discretion if you want your student to stay and watch this part of the presentation. It's perfectly okay. Or if you want this presentation to be viewed only by you, you can pause the video and send them wherever you want to send them. So every year, Civil Air Patrol surveys the cadets and parents. Latest survey data was in December of 2020, as you see on the screen. I recommend that you pause and just read through it, and then when you're done, continue on. I think the results pretty well speak for themselves. Parents, our goal is to develop your student, your child, into a leader, tomorrow's leader. And if they develop an interest in aerospace and STEM, all the better. But primarily, we are interested in getting your student to become a leader, to be able to think critically, to be able to plan, and be able to show pride and confidence in what they do. Parents, just as you have expectations of your children at home, and the school has expectations of their behavior at school, Civil Air Patrol also has expectations of their behavior unique to Civil Air Patrol. For example, wearing the uniform, obeying officers, things like that. So here's a list of basic behavior expectations of our cadets. Civil Air Patrol can make certain accommodations in various areas for cadets. For example, if your student has an academic IEP on file at the school, we can definitely make accommodations for that. However, the school by law cannot share any information of accommodations or IEPs. However, you, as the parent or guardian, may certainly do so. So if you want us to be aware of any academic IEPs that your child has, that's great. We can also make accommodations for other necessary things like physical accommodations, faith-based accommodations, and dietary accommodations. Now, depending upon what the activity is or what's going on, those accommodations may be limited, but we will be happy to discuss it with you and help in any way that we can. As I said earlier, nothing of value is free, and neither is the program. However, if you look at the slide, The Civil Air Patrol is going to invest over $3,000 into your student when they join the program. The school contribution could be $100 or more, depending upon available funds. And the student and family contribution. As this video is being made for more than one school or squadron, consult either the handout that was brought home or contact your CAP leader where you are at, and they will provide you with that information. In that student and family contribution is included the amount for the membership fee for Civil Air Patrol. So where do we go from here? Well, that depends on a couple things. If your student is looking at attending this program at a school, then make sure that you take a look at the attached paperwork that your student brought home. Be sure to sign the parent section. If you are interested in more information, and please indicate the best time to contact you would be. If this is a normal squadron, then contact your CAP person there at the squadron, and they will guide you as to your next steps. If you have any questions, particularly in Arkansas Wing, then contact me at the information on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate your interest in the program and look forward to seeing you.